Hello runDisney friends. We are, I think, 4 videos into my fairest run of all YouTube venture, and I just realized that I never, I think, even so much as said my name. I think because I assume most of you come here because of the links through my socials and through my blog, but it is possible that some people are finding this video just roaming around YouTube. So informationally, my name is Jen. I write a blog called Fairest Run of All. It's very small, but I enjoy doing it, just a little passion project. And I talk about runDisney and running and Disney generally. And I thought it would be fun to try my hand at extending into the world of video, just to kind of chat with people about runDisney and enjoy the fellow feeling of the whole thing. I enjoyed sharing my dopey costumes with you in advance, and I don't know about you guys, but I could definitely use some time in Fantasyland right now. So with that in mind, I would love to share with you my Princess Half Marathon weekend costumes. I'm doing my first ever Fairytale challenge, so I'll be doing the 10K and the half. And for the 10K, I'll be doing it with some awesome friends, and we'll be doing another group costume. So we decided, since we're all going to be going to Hoop-de-Doo at some point during this weekend, that we will do a themed costume to that. It's a little bit niche. I know a lot of people aren't really going to get it as such, but I think the people who do will really enjoy it. There are 3 of us. It's me, Erica, and Becky. If you've read my blogs before, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and if not, the link for my blogs will be down below. You can check the trip reports, race recaps. You'll find Becky and Erica sprinkled around going back 3 or 4 years. And we decided that we would model our race costumes after the 3 main characters of the Hoop-de-Doo musical Revue at Fort Wilderness. It's a show that's been going on since, I believe, 1971. I've seen it once before and it's really cute, and I did a full review of it, so I'll link that down in the description box. That's the terminology, right? Yes, I will link that down in the description box below, so if you're interested, you can get an idea for what the show is like. For our costumes, we'll be doing the 3 main female characters, who are Dolly Drew, and Flora Long, and Claire de Lune. And I will be my favorite of the 3, who is Dolly Drew. I'll put a little photo of her right here. There are a lot of people who do incredible runDisney costumes. Incredibly accurate and or incredibly imaginative. 2 people off the top of my head that I really admired their costumes are Berselli Runs the World. They're always really unique, and it's glitter not sweat. Hers are always very impressive. I will link their Instagram accounts below so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. I am not that good. I always think of my race costumes as almost being more of an homage than anything movie accurate. There are tons of people who do that and they're amazing. I'm not that amazing, so I am doing more like runDisney bounding, but I think what I've got here makes sense, and for anyone who's familiar with the character, especially when I have my Claire de Lune and my Flora Long next to me, will know exactly what I'm going for. Do I have that picture? I said I was gonna put the picture here. Here's the picture through YouTube magic. First thing to note is that Dolly Drew's skirt pattern is really hard to source, because if you look at it, it's not actually a gingham as it originally was in my head. There is a lot of gingham at Hoop-de-Doo, as you might imagine, because of the sort of like picnic napkin kind of vibe that they're going with. But her skirt is in fact what appears to be a red and white tartan. And I don't know if you've looked for red and white tartan. It is really hard to find red and white tartan with no other colors in it. You can get a lot of, especially like Christmassy tartans, where it's red and white, but it's also black or green or yellow, that all mixed in. I had a lot of trouble finding what I was looking for in the precise tartan, but I did pick up this headband. It's still not exactly right, but it is pretty much right. It's very, very close. So I figure with this on, that'll be step 1 in cluing everyone into the fact that I am portraying Dolly Drew. Then I also, of course, have a skirt to go with it. What I've done is I've taken a regular red sparkle skirt from Sparkle Athletic, and I grabbed a gingham scarf off of Amazon, and I sort of pinned it all together. It's not, again, it's not Hoop-de-Doo perfect. It's not exactly what she wears, but she does sort of pull up a red overskirt over top of her tartan skirt. So it's more or less like this. The gingham is, at least, as I said, it is thematically appropriate, so I think it still all works. And then she has her hair in braids, so I'm probably going to do pigtails for the race. I haven't run in pigtails in a very long time, and I remember they do kind of slap at your shoulders a bit, but it's only a 10K, I can suck it up. So she's got the pigtails, and then she also has white ribbons in her pigtails, so I've got this set of white ribbons with the hair clips. They actually came in 3 different sizes. So there's small, and then there's a medium and a large, so I can kind of play around with it. I don't think, if I do pigtails, the big one I'd only really use if I did like buns or something. But if I do pigtails, it'll probably be the small ones. But that goes with her aesthetic. That'll be a very clear callback. I have a white crop tank that needs to be ironed very badly, washed and or ironed. And then I also have some white arm warmers to go with it to match her white top. And then my last costume element is these red pro compression socks that I got at Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. I used these for my Berlioz costume, but I actually bought them for Dolly Drew. So that'll all go together. This is all, of course, subject to the weather. I've been kind of trying to track it. We're still, as I'm filming this, we're still more than 10 days out from the race. Right now, the days leading up to it look like they're going to be a little bit chilly for Florida, like high 60s, low 70s is the highs, but again, it's 10 days out and it's Florida in February, so honestly, the weather could be anything at this point. I will probably end up, as I did for the marathon weekend, packing backup items like long pants but also shorts, because anything can happen in runDisney in terms of the weather. And there's one last thing that I put together for purposes of this costume. If you have seen the Hoop-Dee-Doo show, you know that they make a huge deal of the dessert coming out, which is strawberry shortcake. And there's this whole big line dance and song, and they have signs. And I took an image of the signs that they hold. I put it into Photoshop, then I kind of traced over it, and I was able to blow it up that way. So I printed out this strawberry shortcake sign. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with it just yet. We might cut them up and carry them in individual little signs, because that's what they do in the actual Hoop-Dee-Doo show. All 4 of these are their own separate sign. So there's some talk about potentially us only having some of the words. There's also some talk of us having all 4 of the words, but on individual little tiny signs, so we can kind of hold them all out that way. 11th hour, we don't know what else to do version would just be to carry it like this. But I'm actually really proud of my work here. I think it's gonna add something to the costume, really make it land. If people are familiar with Hoop-Dee-Doo but they're still not sure what we're going for, I think the strawberry shortcake sign will really make it land. So I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be cute. And when we go to Hoop-Dee-Doo, we're going to bound as our characters as well. So I'm very excited for that. So that's the 10K. And that leads us to the half marathon. Oh, I'm still wearing my Dolly Drew headband. That's not thematically appropriate for what I'm doing next. I know I just did the mayor from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I just did Beryl from The Nightmare Before Christmas. We're not done yet. For the princess half, I'm planning on doing Sally the Ragdoll from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I've done Sally twice before. I feel like if I think I can do it better, there's nothing wrong with repeating a costume character. So with that in mind, I'm going to do a plus Sally, plus for compared to what I've done in the past, not necessarily. I'm sure there are people who've done better costumes than what I have. But I'm going to give it a little twist. Instead of just being Sally, this being the princess half, I am going to be Sally in her guise as the pumpkin queen instead of just Sally the Ragdoll. I know there's a book, I have not read it. I don't necessarily feel like there's more story there. I'm sure it's good. If it's really awesome and I need to read it, please do let me know. I can be persuaded, but I haven't really felt the end to check it out myself. But I know that at the end of the movie, she does end up with Jack, which logically leads us to conclude that she becomes the Pumpkin Queen. So I've put together my own little Pumpkin Queen interpretation, starting with, of course, the base layers. I have this Sally shirt that is not a running shirt, I must confess. It's originally from Hot Topic, I'm pretty sure, but I got it secondhand through ThreadUp. And even though it's cotton, which I know I got yelled at by the owner of Fleet Feet once repeatedly. I didn't do anything. He's just this impassioned about it. He kept going, cotton is rotten and should be forgotten. And he's got a point. It's certainly not good when it rains, but I've run in this shirt twice before. I did the marathon and the Princess Half 2 years ago, I think. 1 year, two, I think it was 2 years ago. So I've run in this before, worked out fine. It's only a half marathon. If you've done Dopey, you're allowed to say that. No, of course a half marathon is still a lot, but I'm not super worried about it, so that's my plan. We'll go with this shirt, and then on top of that, not on top. With that, I've got this sparkle athletic skirt. The colors don't exactly match. This is more of a faded Sally, and this is a more vibrant Sally, but hey, you know, maybe her bottom has been replaced recently and her top is still the old version. She needs to pump that up a little bit, or maybe she likes it that way. She is the queen after all. She gets what she wants. So that's how we're gonna build our base Sally. To really sell it, I got this choker so that I can have my sewn on head. And then it also came with temporary tattoos. I'm not sure I want to use these because I know sometimes temporary tattoos are not as temporary as the word would otherwise suggest, and I don't know if I necessarily want to be wandering around with a lot of stitching all over me in real life. Or maybe I do. I'll have to think about that, but I do have this option. Now on top of that, I have these arm warmers that I picked up. They are not that thick, so hopefully it's not cold, but they did come with 2 pairs, so I can layer them if I need to. But these are pretty much perfectly Sally. Got a little thumb hole. And there you go. I do wish the color were just a little bit more vibrant, but hey, you know, what can you do? I think if I layer them especially, it'll come out a little bit more of her sort of blue skin color, but even if I don't, if it's hot and I only want one, it'll still read. It'll make sense. I thought about using 1 pair of the arm warmers on my legs, but it would probably end up really stretching them out because my calves are significantly bigger than my little arms. So I think I'm instead going to use these compression socks, because if you look at the movie, she does in fact have black and white striped socks. They're ankle socks, but she'll let me use compression socks. I don't think she'd be mad. It's a good homage. It's also a little bit an homage to the Wicked Witch of the East, but I digress. Now that we have our base Sally, our almost movie perfect Sally-ish, we now have to make her into a queen. I picked up this tiara with a black stone because, you know, it is Halloween town, so we gotta make it a little dark. Ooh, that's not what we want. Yep, should be able to run in that, no problem. That would probably be enough, except I want to plus it a bit. So, if you'll recall these from my mayor costume for The Nightmare Before Christmas, I ended up using the middle one, even though the black one would have been a little more accurate, but the orange I thought would make things stand out a little bit better in terms of photography and what have you, so I used the tarantula-y one. But I think for Sally, I can plus this tiara with these little hair clips. Let's give it a go. So if we there. We got a little spider tiara. Not bad. And then just to give it a little bit more sauce, I have a whole bunch of fake flowers that I think would add a little bit of Dia de Muertos flavor to Sally. I feel like that's thematically appropriate, it being Halloween town. So I have a whole bunch of different colors. They're a little dusty because I haven't really worn them. They've been more decorative, and I am not good at cleaning, so they're not as pristine as they could be, but I feel like for this particular setup, it makes sense. They're a little bit cobwebby. Go with the spiders and the general Halloween town vibe. I'm gonna, I think, put some of these in my hair, possibly behind the crown, possibly more like that. I don't know. I'll just bring them all with me because they're not very heavy, and I'll play around with it and see what feels good in the moment. So that's everything. Those are my costumes for the Princess Half Marathon. If you're headed down to Princess Half Marathon weekend, I hope to see you there. Minxie, what? If you're headed down to Princess Half Marathon weekend, I hope to see you there. We're going to have a great couple of races with awesome costumes, and I'm looking forward to it. Oh good, Minxie's back. You're gonna help me with the outro, Minxie? Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this little costume preview. I'm probably going to do another unpacking video with my suitcase like I did with Dopey. I thought that was pretty fun. I was able to explain what I used and tell some little anecdotes, show pictures of how it actually all went down, which was fun, so I intend to do that. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. If you did not enjoy this video, then don't like and don't subscribe, and I will know that you did not enjoy it. No, I won't actually know that you specifically didn't, but you know, data's data. Minxie would like to go. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I always really enjoy having people to talk to about Run Disney, and I will see you at the next race weekend.